Reading One Piece every day of 2026. Today is chapter 4 through 7. Jumping in, we see Helmeppo and Luffy fighting, and in typical Nepo baby fashion, Helmeppo threatens Luffy with his daddy, Captain Axiom Morgan, who we meet in the next scene by saying, "I'm so great." Now this is a little bit basic on the writing level here, but this is something we see in early One Piece, just a little bit heavy-handed with the writing, but that's okay. I do think, though, that Captain Morgan and Alvida are characterized very similarly, and I do actually enjoy that as our introduction into the Marines and the pirating world. We see that on both sides of the spectrum, there is still people who are abusing power and people are still oppressing others no matter which side they're on. Then we see Luffy and Zoro having a little chat, and Zoro says that he will not become a pirate because he has his own dream he wants to achieve, and he's not going to let anything get in the way of that, and he's not going to make any choices that he will one day regret. And unfortunately for Zoro, this is exactly what Luffy would want to hear in a prospective member of his crew, so he declines Zoro's decline and says, "We'll make a deal. If I can get your swords back, you have to join my crew." And Zoro agrees because he doesn't think he can get the sword back. Then we see Axiom Morgan yelling at his guys as they hoist up a giant statue of him on top of the naval base, and he demands that the men go execute the little girl who helped Zoro earlier, and his subordinates actually refuse, but Axiom Morgan gets very upset. He says rank means everything in this world, and since he ranks higher than them, he ranks the highest, he is automatically right. And not only is this just a pretty good example of how a lot of people, especially within the military in One Piece, view power, but it's also a pretty good example as well of how hierarchical this world, this system actually is. And the further up you are on the totem pole, the more right, the more prerogative you have to treat other people poorly because you are in power and therefore you are right. Luffy hears the commotion upstairs, and Gum Gum rockets up right as Axiom Morgan is giving a whole spiel about how this statue is him. It's a representation of him, and if you harm the statue, you're harming him. And Luffy overshoots and destroys the statue. He simply says, sorry, and then grabs Helmeppo and runs off to go find the swords. We come back down to Zoro, and Koby is actually untying him now. He says he will be a proper sailor, just like Luffy will be king of the pirates. Counter. And when Zoro hears that this is Luffy's dream, he's actually quite surprised, and he asks, does he know what that means?